All right. Hello, everybody. This is Morning Jeff.
Not Jeff's sick voice. This is just how he sounds in the morning, and I don't like it.
This is
He
just how I
sounds
sound in the
awful.
morning. Yeah. I mean,
I don't believe you.
there could be some sickness involved too.
There
Yeah,
has to
absolutely.
be. I
There
don't
could
believe
be.
you. I don't believe
This
you.
could-
There's no way. This is just like, oh, I get more stressed out as the day. I've known you for a while. I know what you sound like. I
No,
never heard you sound like this.
well, because the microphone's doing some work there, but yeah, I don't because I'm right next to the microphone. So in the morning, like when we're at E3 and then we wake up and we have to get started, you're across the room and you ask me something and I have to like project, and that stresses out my voice. But if I'm just like relaxed and talking right there, this is if I got up here, basically if I got up in your ear in the morning at E3 mic, this is what I would sound like.
My memory view in the morning is every question I ask you annoys you.
You definitely succeed at that. Absolutely. Okay, I think I gotta turn down my mic just a little bit. Okay.
Don't worry, everyone. I sound the same. I'm consistent. Yeah.
Need that intro music, Jeff. Yeah, let's make sure that we are.
How many things you've been playing? What have I been playing?
I've been playing a lot, a little bit of a lot of things. Yeah.
I'll just say that for now.
All right, turning off noise removal, which will enable you to hear the.
Did you get a code for Mario Golf?
No, I bought that video game.
Oh boy.
I had it pre-ordered.
They were giving. Oh, here it is. No, never mind. They're giving us some codes on release date at least, but not this one. They are here.
All right. What else do we need? We got the rundown here. We have.
Paul, your test is going to go great. I have no advice because I am statistically impaired, but you'll be fine.
I was good at high school statistics, which I took because it was a half-year course after I got suspended from school for having a toy gun in my backpack.
That's right.
Yeah, I was a very I lived a charmed life.
You lived.
I lived it. Okay, I got the rundown in front of me. I got you guys could hear the intro music, right? When I just played it a second ago.
I heard it.
Okay.
It's real.
Chat's there. Yes, this is early. I'm going to the zoo today. I got family actually here and in town, and they're leaving tomorrow night, I think. So they haven't really done much because I've been sick this week. So I'm like, well, I'm feeling a little bit better, which you could tell by the way I'm talking, of course. And then I will take them to the zoo today, and then that'll be it. That'll be it. That's the end of the story. Okay, yeah. I guess any other news we should talk about this week? If anyone has any other headlines, we should throw into the rundown. Any big news stories, let us know. But I think we're probably pretty good here.
That was pretty slow, right? This week.
I think so. I feel like I took a couple days off, so I lost track of some things. Yeah, I figured you would talk about the Sonic concert during one of these things or during. Okay.
Oh, baby.
Okay. All right. Let's bring it up. Let's let everybody see our beautiful morning faces then. Nope. Oh, there you are. All right. Cool.
No, like what I do.
No, you didn't do anything.
Reminded me I had to take these glasses off.
I didn't get sick I've actually. This is the same cold I've had since before E3 started, and then E3 started, and I did not get any better because I was working nonstop. So. Tried to recover a little bit this week. The doctor says it's just a cold, and antibiotics won't help, so I should just rest. And I tried to do that this week. Hopefully it takes. But I woke up this morning, my ear hurt just as much as it always has. So
I got some of the people in the community to make you those get well cards.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I saw all of them, and I appreciate all of what you've done to me.
Maybe you can find a way to get them up during the show. They're so good.
So
nice.
Get rid of your face for a second here. Let me see. I can download them real quick. Oh wait, wrong thing.
One podcast producers. Did you guys play Scarlet Nexus? Neither of us played that actually.
If anyone was gonna play it, it was gonna be Mike.
No, Jason played it. He likes JRPGs too. And I don't know. I mean, he also played that freaking Dark Alliance game that everybody is very disappointed in. He was only mildly disappointed in it, but some people are very disappointed in it. Or I'm going to talk about the Nihon Falcom stuff. Is that how I say it? Nihon Falcom? The Trails games.
Yeah, you know what? I'll bring up, because it's in podcast producers. I'll just go
Do you
there.
know that you put the starting soon thing back on?
Yeah, because I need to hide your face while I looked for this. Let's see what it looks like. Hang on.
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll just adjust it when we get there.
I have the song from the final boss in the first Nier raid in Final Fantasy
It's all
14
backwards,
stuck
but
in my
well,
head.
that's fine. And then
No, it's not.
Yeah.
There's text involved. How could that be fine?
It's fine in that I'm not going to do the work to make it not backwards.
I understand now. We can abandon ship. We can abandon ship on this.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let me. Okay, are you ready to start?
I am ready to start.
Okay, let's
see, guys. I have to put Jeff in his place sometimes and tell him. See, Jeff, it will sometimes do a half-ass job instead of just moving on. Jeff.
I mean, listen, I feel like that is our MO here, is half-ass job. So
you want morning, Mike? You got him, baby. Buckle up, buckaroo.
East Coast time, Mike, is unfair. This is not. I shouldn't have to deal with this.
No, here you are. You asked for this.
I did. I know. This is my own fault, my own making. All right, let's get started, everybody. Sorry to keep you all waiting, because I know it's the internet and you're busy. So, all right.
Whoever says that.
I don't know. Some idiot. Okay, I'm gonna do the countdown and we'll get into it. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Gamesbeat Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything happening in the world of video games so you don't have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeffrey Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
In today's episodes, you get news, you get games, you get morning Mike and Jeff.
Oh, it's happening.
It's happening. It's all happening. We're doing an early episode today. If you're watching live, obviously you know that. If you're watching later and you missed it, well, you're gonna miss something pretty special here. You can get in chat and interact with us. It's gonna be a wild one. We're gonna get to the games we've been playing. Mike's gonna gush probably about some Sonic concert. It's gonna be weird.
Oh my god.
First, though, I want to thank everybody for joining us. You can get more from Mike and me at Gamesbeat.com. If you have something to share with us, email the podcast at gamespluspodcast@venturebeat.com. You can also get us on Twitter. It's at Gamesbeat. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs, both the opening and the closing. If you are listening to this on the website player widget, or if you are watching live on YouTube, you could subscribe to the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. If you're watching live, though, give us that thumbs up. Hit that like button. It helps people find the show while we're live. If you do like the show, please rate us on Apple Podcasts, because it helps people find the show as well. And then you could join the Discord. It's discord.gg/gamemess, and the link is in the description if you can't remember that. I know it's difficult. And then support the show. You can support the show by going to patreon.com/JeffGrubb, and that gets you into the secret channels inside the Discord. And really just, we treat it like a tip jar around here. All right, Mike, how you doing?
Yo. Oh, fine. It's a little early. I've been dog sitting this week, so I have 3 dogs instead of 1 here. They get up too early. They take up too much bedroom. They shed everywhere, but they're nice. Yeah,
man, I get it. My cat sheds a lot, but he's just one big fur ball. The whole multiple pets situation is something I don't think I'll ever be able to deal with in my life, which I know you're not. You're just pet sitting, but one dog's probably enough, right?
Well, I wonder. I maybe get too small. We tried to say this word earlier.
Hypoallergenic.
But I can't. Yeah. Dogs, because my dog Penny does do better with more dogs. She gets like separation anxiety and stuff. Which,
Oh,
it's weird
yeah.
because I'm here so often, anyways. But yeah, I think I could summon the one when I play this, the one dog I'm sitting, because she does not like the tin whistle, so I can't even play my tin whistle. I'm out of practice.
So, you said you were gonna summon one with your tin
Well,
whistle?
because she'll come and whine if I do it, I think. But she's
Okay.
sleeping. I don't want to be mean. I don't even know where she is. I'll
right.
leave her alone for now. Maybe later.
This is a Pied Piper situation we're talking about here now.
Yeah, we're teasing something for later. We'll see.
Okay. All right.
It's a setup.
Yes,
it's gonna have a big payoff.
He's setting up a bit. Everybody, stand back, please.
Yes.
Stand back. I really okay. You know what? I was gonna wait, but Mike, I did watch some of that Sonic concert, and I think here's the thing. I think Sonic music seems like it might be very, very good. That was a good concert. They did a really good job. So there was an orchestra at the beginning. There was a band later. I don't know. Tell me about it, Mike.
Yeah, it was a life-altering event, a culturally significant milestone.
Right.
Everything will be now registered before the Sonic 30th
Yeah.
anniversary concert.
When Bill and Ted go back into the
Yeah.
past, they will come to this moment. Exactly.
Yes, it turns out the song that they needed to save the world was actually "Live and Learn."
Live and Learn by
Sonic
Crush
Adventure
40.
2 from Crush 40.
Listen,
Yeah, I mean,
you started singing that yesterday when we were in a meeting or whatever, and or we were recording something, and then all day yesterday I couldn't stop singing it. I was just at the gas station.
Gosh.
Live and learn.
Right, it's like that meme with the bird. He like takes that deep breath and just.
Yes, it's very good.
That was me every 20 minutes yesterday. Well, because like that was like the finale was the encore. They brought the orchestra and the band together, and they did City Escape from Sonic Adventure 2. Then they ended with Live and Learn. So it was like an orchestra, like it had like an orchestra backdrop. To this
it was
song.
everything culminated because they did all the orchestrated music to begin with, and then like Sonic, shifted a little bit into band-based music. I guess I don't know how to what word that I would use there, but there was like rock and roll music. Thank you, Mike. God damn it.
Yes,
and
then,
and then but then they brought it both together, and it was a big it felt like a culmination. It was excellent.
Because it was kind of two separate parts. But I love the stuff at the beginning too, because the older Sonic games, I love all those concerts that just take 8-bit and 16-bit era music and orchestrates it, because it somehow all sounds amazing like that. It all translates incredibly well to that. Mm-hmm. So they had these amazing medleys from Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. And then they did some weird deeper cuts, like a medley from some of the Game Gear games.
Yeah.
They had a bit about with some of the Sonic, the Saturn stuff. And Sonic never even had a proper Saturn game, but there was weird stuff like Sonic R, and they still had amazing soundtracks. And then but what I almost love and it was endearing about it is they're not ashamed of things maybe they should be ashamed of. Here's a whole segment for Sonic 06. It's wow, one of the worst video games ever, but hey, its music's good. It's I almost admire it at that point.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think they pull it off because they were just brazenly embracing all of these games that people constantly make fun of. And it's when you go out there, if you just if you act like this stuff is important and you play really good music that comes from those games, I'm kind of buying into it. Yeah, that works. You can really fool me a lot with that sort of posturing. Yeah, that was really excellent, and I think it was Blessing over at Kind of Funny said there's not many games that could do a concert like this specifically with an orchestra and then having just a couple bands come out and play music from it. There's just not a lot of games that have a whole series worth of music to pull from like this. It was pretty incredible.
I've been to some of those touring concert series. I've been to the Zelda one. I've been to the Final Fantasy one. There was a Pokemon one not too long ago I missed. But yeah, when the series can do that, it's always great. And Sonic is absolutely one of them. It turns out because its music is amazing. There's there's a lot of cynical things to say about Sonic sometimes. There's nothing cynical to say about that concert. It just ruled. Good job by everyone involved with it.
Yes, I'll say some people in chat said they're going to go back and watch it now because we're gushing about it. If you can, try to line up Mike's tweets with it, because Mike was just losing his mind throughout. He's just fuck yeah, Sonic 06 is good now, or whatever it was. Sonic.
Sonic Adventure 2.
Sonic Adventure 2.
It came out. I was oh, Sonic Adventure 2 is really good. Then I'm older. I'm no, it's not. And now I'm no, it's good again. Fuck it. This music's great.
Line up the tweets. It's very good. Excuse me. This is my morning voice, but also I might be sick, so let me clear my throat.
You got this. Nice.
Yeah.
Whoa. You mentioned media. Our favorite media company.
Yep, I did. That's very good. Every time I accidentally hit that button, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I think of now. It's
I know
what you can print it in my head.
Yep. I have I have some news here. I
Go
just
ahead.
threw it together here right before the show. So if anyone in chat, if we miss a headline, let us know. It's one of those kind of podcasts, so just deal with it. The first headline I have here is one that I'm kind of excited about because I think it's good news for the Metroid series. I'm slapping things around. Metroid Dread has people excited, and it seems like they're so excited that people are going back and revisiting the early games. And well, first of all, Metroid Dread is topping the sales charts on Amazon, and that's for like pre-orders. And then people are also going back and buying like the Game Boy Advance games like Fusion and Metroid Zero on Wii U, and they are topping that eShop store. Do you think this is going to be the best-selling Metroid game ever based on the excitement right now?
Man, it certainly seems like it could be. The only thing it's going to need now is a good reception, like a decent one,
Yes.
like better than what Mario Golf is getting now, right?
Yeah.
If it gets like an 85-ish or even like an 80-ish, it should have everything it needs, and it seems like that should be within reach, right?
Yes.
It should be at least as good as Samus Returns was. So yeah, it's exciting because that's always been the kind of thing with Metroid, is that these games are great. They don't sell amazing. Like sometimes they'll sell pretty well. Like if like you make Metroid Prime one of the greatest games ever, yeah, it better have sold a couple million copies, and it did. But like you want more for it than that, and maybe this is going to be the start of that. It seems like there's a lot of excitement. It seems like there's a lot of buzz. And we were wondering, like, oh, Nintendo has all these games coming out in fall, but they don't have, like, maybe the one big game. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is their big fall game by far, is going to be the new Metroid 5, whatever you call it.
Yeah, I think I'll point out that RGT85 Sean, who's on the Spawncast, he's got a bet with some people about this game not being able to sell more than 3 million copies because no Metroid ever has, and he always says like, you know, all these games have come out previously, nothing's ever succeeded, so this game won't either. And I think when I look at it, it does seem like this is going to be the Switch effect coming to Metroid in the same way it's come to other things. You know, Fire Emblem had its biggest success ever on the Switch, and I think we've seen stuff like Pikmin get the big boost and stuff.
Pikmin, Luigi's Mansion had a giant boost, but
Luigi's
it also
Mansion,
released
right.
like by far its best game, so that helped too, right?
Right.
So yeah,
I mean, you're right.
To be a Switch boost.
You're right. We are predicating all these like predictions on whether or not the game is good. If the game is good, I think it's easily going to surpass 3 million copies. And then Metroid Prime 4, if it ever comes out, will easily be. It'll probably match like Luigi's Mansion's numbers. I think. You know the
Wow.
big. Yeah, I think it'll get close.
Maybe. I don't know, because that's 10 million, and it's a series again. This is a series that's been at like 2.5 million.
You're
at its
right.
best for a lot of times, right?
You know, I was thinking maybe closer to 8 million, 7 to 8 million. So yeah, so not quite. Like Luigi's Mansion's numbers in its first year is kind of what I was thinking. So
Okay.
So like 7 to 8 million. I think that's probably about right for Metroid Prime 4. But again, that depends whether or not the game's good, and if as long as we're in still in the same place with Nintendo. Like right now, anything Nintendo is going to get a boost. People just want to play stuff on their Switch, and people have had a lot of luck. Like, oh, this is the first time I'm ever playing Animal Crossing, and I want to check it out because I have the Switch and I'm playing it all the time. I think the same thing could happen with Metroid. It's gonna depend on whether or not they can deliver on the games.
Do you think if Dread is a success, we're going to see that trilogy a little
Yeah,
sooner?
I think so.
No.
Yeah, I think they feel like they could probably like space it out a little bit further from the actual release of Prime 4. So yeah, definitely. Let's see. I got the next story here. Sony is registering a trademark for PlayStation Experience, which was the name of their fan event that they did. And I went to that first one, that PSX, years and years ago now. And they haven't done one recently. Obviously, they didn't do one last year. No one did anything last year. But you know, they're registering the trademark, and some people think this is the thing that they're going to do this summer as part of like, okay, we're gonna, instead of a state of play, we're gonna do a PlayStation Experience. I don't think that's exactly what's going to happen, but if a PlayStation Experience does come back and it's a big fan event, Mike, are you going to go?
Oh, it depends on when and where, but I think it would be a lot of fun. These fan events are cool. Like BlizzCon has always been great.
Yeah,
that's been a lot of fun. And right now, I like a lot of PlayStation games, so that could be a good time. They used to do it more towards like December, though, right?
Yes, late in the year.
Time frame, yeah. So could be interesting if they're not ready for summer for an event, because they used to have basically like an E3 presentation component to it. So I could maybe see them being like, we're not going to have a big state of play Maybe we'll do like another one on Horizon if that's coming out, or some other holiday games. But maybe like we're gonna get a lot of big news at PSX event,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe we are getting Stay Play. This is them getting ready for next year, right?
Right.
Or maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just we better secure that trademark in case we ever want to do something again. Who knows?
Yeah, something along those lines for sure. PSX was really fun. It was a really good show. I went during the years when Andrew House was still doing stuff there, and then Adam Boyce was still there, and Jack Tretton, I think, even did a big keynote. And so it's like having all those, famous PlayStation faces come out and talk directly to a bunch of PlayStation fans felt pretty special, and it made the whole thing like feel exciting. And Dan Shu was like setting up card games for people to collect and stuff. So yeah,
I remember that.
yeah, it was fun. It was a cool idea, and it is a thing that should come back. So I hope it does fully come back and is represented in the same way it was when it first happened. And then State of Plays can still come along, and those could be where we get the news. But speaking of PlayStation news, Sony has a rumored standalone expansion coming for Ghost of Tsushima, and I have no insight on this, but Mike, nothing makes more sense to me than a Ghost of Tsushima standalone expansion along the lines of what Sony has done with its other franchises. Like we got, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Because then you can kind of release this on PlayStation 5 at the same time. Of course, it would have a PlayStation 4 version. We totally know to expect that from them. But yeah, this is a way to get a game out there, and it seems like they're going to maybe need like maybe making a Ghost of Tsushima 2 is going to take a long time, and maybe you don't have time for that. But here's something that can maybe comfortably come in between Horizon and God of War, even after God of War, right? So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense to me too, and I think it's these games cost a lot of money for Sony. They spend a lot of money on making new franchises. Some every couple of years they'll do something completely new, like Ghost of Tsushima, and that's a big investment. And one of the ways you can sort of hedge against that investment is say, hey, okay, we're going to scope out a big game and we'll release that, but keep in mind that we're going to use the same tech and maybe similar map or a lot of similar assets, and we're going to release a smaller, pared down in scope game, and it's going to follow it up, and we're going to try to position it now these days, it's a Miles Morales sort of thing, as like a full price experience, but it's going to be pared down enough so that we can make even more money on it. It's going to be even more profitable, and I think that I don't know, for me, I really like this strategy because we get more games from Sony more quickly. And often I think I like some of these, spinoffs or standalone expansion things even more because they are pared down. I think Miles Morales was more focused than Bear Spider-Man, and it really worked for me really well.
Right, but I don't mind like that quote unquote paring down because Miles Morales did not feel like a
No.
lesser experience. Like I was shocked how this feels like a full game to me. And they could do the same thing again where I don't like Ghost of Tsushima. I don't think it's had any kind of like big next gen patch, right? So you can release a version that comes with both, or give the free upgrade to people, and they have the kind of PlayStation 5 version of that. So I'm excited for it.
Yep, me too. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's called Ghost of Ikashima is what the rumored name is. I bet
another Japanese island. I don't know much about Japanese geography.
Right. Yeah, I won't pretend to know much either. But from what I heard, based on these headlines, yes, it's another real island, just like Tsushima. Okay. Let's see. If we do hear about that, I imagine we will hear about that at a summer State of Play.
Yes.
Probably in July or August. Okay. Here's what I don't think we had. I think this news came out right after the episode last week, so I don't think we talked about it. But in Australia, Konami submitted a game called Castlevania Advance Collection for rating. And boy, Mike, I hope this is real and it's coming, and I'm getting my hopes up for it. And obviously, it's like if it's being rated, there must be something there. But I do not want to wait for this. I want to play it right now. So this would be a collection of the 3 Castlevania Game Boy Advance games, and that's Circle of the Moon. Is it Aria of Sorrow? Is that on the Game Boy Advance?
The order is Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, and Aria of Sorrow. Yes.
Right, thank you.
And then we had, I presumably it's not going to have the DS games, but maybe it'll have Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia.
Probably not, right? It's probably going to be like...
I want to hope. I don't know.
I
Because
think
what
that
else would you call it then? Because you're not going to be clumsy and call it the Castlevania Advanced/DS Collection. You would still just maybe call it the Advanced Collection, and people kind of know what you mean. I don't know. Maybe I'm
I,
being optimistic. At least those first three, though. At least.
right, and I feel like for Konami, you want to do the first three in a collection, probably sell it for like $40, and then do Castlevania Advanced Collection 2 and put the
Sure.
DS games in there and charge another $40, right? That's like
Yeah.
maximizing your return. I think that's probably what's going to happen, and I'm okay with that. As long as all these games come to the Switch and I'm able to play them, that's exactly what I
I
want.
sure hope so. And it's like, why not? We know people want these games. I mean, gosh, even if for some reason this is like smoke and there's something there, you would hope that they would see how excited people were about the
Right.
potential of it. They've done pretty good collections already. They have a good like classic Castlevania collection, a good classic Contra collection. You can get on modern platforms, or at least on Switch. So why not? Some people try like, why not make a new Castlevania? Honestly, I don't think. I'll be honest. I don't think they could make one as good as those games. I would. It's a instance where I'm just like, no, just give me your old ass games at least for now. Like,
Right.
and then maybe try to make a new one. But right now,
Yeah.
I really do just want to play those again. That's
Yeah,
what I
I mean,
want
it's been long
more.
enough. Like most people, Game Boy Advance was a very successful system, but it was 20 years ago. Yeah, it was 20 years ago when that thing was at its heyday. There are a lot of people playing games now that were not playing games then, and Metroidvania, as we just talked about with Metroid Dread, people are excited about Metroid Dread in part because it's a Nintendo franchise, but also the Metroidvania genre has blown up, and people have played a lot of those games now, and to bring back some of the best and some of the foundational games in that genre, it's like, okay, yeah, this is a chance for these games to succeed again, and we should be able to easily access these games. We shouldn't have to go hunt them down.
It's also time for Circle of the Moon to get some respect again. Like the one complaint people had about it, like it was dark or hard to see. They can just fix that. But I mean, gosh, that was like one of the first times where we really, really started talking about Metroidvania, I think. Because at that point, there was only Symphony of the Night. This was like, oh, yeah, this is a trend for Castlevania games now. It was portable. It was one of the best launch titles ever. And then Iga-san, right, or came along. It's like, it's on the timeline. Everyone's like, oh, yes, we also don't like that one as much, too.
Yep.
Bullshit.
Yep. Castlevania Circle of the Moon was incredible. I think, yes, that's the one that I was going to go to Ozfest in Columbus, right down the street from my house, and I didn't feel like it, so I sold my ticket to a scalper and went and bought Circle of the Moon and sat in Taco Bell and played that for a long time, and it was the best. Way better than going to Ozfest. I like that a whole bunch. All right, Mike, you added a news story here, said more Trails games coming to US.
Ooh,
so this all got announced last night. Tell me what's going on here.
The also site leaked a little bit earlier because of the Epic Games Store. There's been so much of that lately. People just like releasing store pages early. Like, man, at some point you think somebody's gonna get there. Someone's gotta be a bit more careful, but whatever. So Trails is it's the Legend of Heroes series. It's kind of just now called the Trails series. Because Trails in the Sky is the one that sort of took off a good bit. Then you had the Trails of Cold Steel games. And then in between those two sub-series, you had this duology of games, Trails from Zero and Trails to Azure is what they're being called now. And they came out in Japan in 2010. We never got those two, and everyone was frustrated. So as you had some fans come together and do a fan translation of them not long ago. Everyone says the fan translation is fantastic. Whenever I told people I haven't played those games yet, I'm waiting for an official translation, they're like, just go play the fan translation. And then I wouldn't because I'm an awful person. But so I my wish came true. We're getting the real translations. But what's cool here is that they are partnering with the people who did the fan translation, and they're using it, as they say, as the basis for the official localization. So they're probably going to go change some things. But yeah, like the fan group was called Geofront. And like they posted on their site, like, yeah, we're working with Nihon Falcom now, and they took like the links off for their patches, like, yeah, we want you to support the official game. So that's really cool. That's really exciting. Plus, this is coming to PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC. So getting these things on Switch is incredible. So I'm very excited. So Trails from Zero is coming out like late 2022. Trails to Azure is coming out 2023, and then they're also bringing in what was the latest entry in the series. Was it Trails to Revelry? that's coming out
Reverie, yeah,
2023.
yeah.
Yeah, and that there's an action RPG spinoff in the series that came out in Japan like 2012 called they're calling it Boundless Trails: Legend of Nayuta or something like that, and that's also coming out in 2023. So one of the sticking points for some fans is like the stuff is taking a while. And also the Xbox people are upset they're not getting them. But I really been seeing more complaint about the time, and I do kind of get it. It is like a slow localization process, but these games have a ton of text. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
one of their trademarks. And maybe I think that's one of the reasons why we're finally getting those two games is because they're just like, let's just work with the guys who already did it. Like everyone likes that translation. Like what the hell? We'll just give them some money and use that or whatever. So I'm not too upset about the wait. There's always more JRPGs to play. I'm basically
Right.
just excited. I'm just excited.
Is this sort of like in terms of the way the games relate to each other? Is it like the Tales series where like they, there's an overarching sort of play structure or what?
So there's an overarching play structure, but they actually take place in the same universe on like the different Tales games. There's a chronology there. It's almost kind of similar to the Suikoden games, and that there's a good amount of like geopolitical stuff going on, and like most of these like the Trails in the Sky games take place in one country. The Trails of Cold Steel take place in another, and these two games take place. They're called the Crossbell duology because they take place in like a city state kind of, I think, stuck in between. Again, I haven't played them yet, but I'm very excited. It was nice too is that because these are older, they actually have like that pixel art style of Trails in the Sky and not the kind of slightly not as good looking like 3D model style Trails of Cold Steel, at least for me. So I'm very excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. Mikey happy. Good JRPG Switch goodness coming in a couple of years.
Right, yeah, and so a lot of these games were coming to Steam, but it was a slow process, like you said, and so it's nice that
they were officially coming to Steam, so it was all official just now, really. So.
Oh, okay. So like the Steam game, were the Steam versions, were those like the Japanese text? Is that what it was?
I think you can buy. Yeah, I think you could buy like the Japanese version for a bit, and then and basically it was like, here's where the fan translation is. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Cool. More Sonic news. I'm not sure if this was announced as part of the a concert or not, but apparently Sega is turning Sonic into a VTuber. Mike, do you know what a VTuber is? I do. I can explain it to you if you need me to.
Is that like when you get the 3D model mocap person who is hosting a show? Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's like all face rigged. Yeah, okay, no. Hatsune Miku is a completely different discipline, Mike. That's a Vocaloid, not a VTuber. Get it right.
My mistake. I'm sorry.
Embarrassed by you. God, it's a completely different thing. Vocaloid, you buy the software, you can make it sing for you. That's not what a VTuber is.
I should know because those were important in what was that? The Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem crossover. What was that called? FE Fates. That was an important plot point. Those things. But yes, Sonic's gonna be a VTuber. I mean, are they getting the guy that does his voice to do it constantly? I can't imagine they're going to do that.
Probably not. No, probably not. They're probably going to get.
Maybe that's why they fired him, because they're like, we got this VTuber now, and he's the new voice because we can make him work constantly.
Yeah,
and they're we better bring him back.
I wonder what. Yeah, the trials for that was just like say chili dogs. Yeah,
say chili dogs.
They're also going to open a theme park, or they want to open a theme park. Mike, tell me about this. What's going on here?
I don't know. Everyone says they want to open theme parks. Like where? Because it wouldn't be in Japan, because Sonic's not as big a deal in Japan. So, like, what does that mean, a theme park, right? I'm not necessarily thinking they're going to open up a Disneyland. So I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. You're right. It's going to be like an activation at a mall, probably. That's what it's going to be like. Yeah. I would go to a Sonic theme park, but only if it was like cheap and dangerous. I feel like it should be like a second-rate theme park. I would be totally down with that.
Yeah, they should just buy like an old going out of business like amusement park and just paint the cars blue and name things Sonic. And,
somewhere in a former USSR country. Wow.
Yeah. There you go.
I don't know, something about that just also seems to fit for me. The last story I have here is I just wrote down, please, we're not Hideo Kojima.
Did you see when we started this that their commercial app, I think, was supposed to come out today, and now that's delayed to August.
Oh my God, really?
Hassan posted another kind of sad video where he's looking at the camera and is apologizing. He looks so sad. He always looks like he maybe was just crying or something, which makes me feel bad if he was, but I don't think he actually is. I think that's just how he looks.
Right.
So I don't like. Part of me is like getting uncomfortable talking about the Civil War. Like maybe because like maybe we are just causing these people incredible undue amount of stress. I don't know. I'm seeing people. Some of our colleagues on Twitter are mad at people for talking about this, and I'm just like, yeah, but like it still feels like there's something there. I don't know. I told you this is what happens when you start looking into conspiracy theories. You begin to believe it because, of course, you do.
Yeah, and now to be clear, I don't believe it. I think we are just at this point causing stress for these people. Listen, the whole reason this came back up is because they put out a tweet that says our game's going to start with S and end with L, which to me,
well, that's pretty self-afflicted.
Right. Yes, exactly. But it's like also when I read that, I'm like, there's no way this is Hideo Kojima, because while he is ham-fisted, he's not that ham-fisted. He's not like giggling like, haha, that's that's Silent Hills. Come on, that he would never be like that. But like once that happened, it was the toothpaste out of the tube, and it was never going to be fixed again. But basically, so the Blue Box studio that is working on this abandoned game that everyone thinks is the next Silent Hill secretly, and is secretly a Hideo Kojima game. They've spent like the last week putting out videos on social media and like getting their partners, like the company that makes art assets for them. They got them to do a video just saying, "Hey, we're real people. We're working on this game. We're not Hideo Kojima." And that's been the news story for the past week about this game. It is. I don't know. It is starting to be kind of a sad situation where like I hope the game could just come out and stand on its own and people don't freak out. But it seems unlikely.
I don't think it's going to be a bad thing for the game if like, oh, it's not a Hideo Kojima game. It's not like people are going to like buy less of it than if no one had ever known that. Like this, like it probably can only help it. All this craziness. Yeah. So that's the silver lining there, I suppose. But
now, if you work at Blue Box or if you just want to like represent, there are T-shirts under our video now that says "I am not Hideo Kojima," so you can get you can get an "I'm not a Hideo Kojima" T-shirt right now for yourself. Just click on that link. I actually don't know if it's down there, but I'm pretty sure it's down there. And it's got a picture of a man who's not Hideo Kojima on it. So,
oh, there it is. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Cut from that, right?
Well, let's move on.
Wow. I guess not we. I guess we don't.
I haven't sold a single one yet, Mike. So we'll have to see.
Wow.
All right. Any other news that we should talk about? I feel like we hit everything. But if not, we can get to some questions. Or if we did, we can get to questions.
That seems like everything, but yeah. Okay. But we have a few super chats here, obviously in the morning here, not quite as many as we usually do. But let's get to this. If you guys have any questions, you can send us super chats, and we will answer your question live on the air. Kung Fu Hot Dog says, "Hey Jets, happy Friday. Do you blame HR at 343 Industries for Halo Infinite's delays? Phil and Bonnie should have met to ensure the welfare of staff." I haven't heard too much about the like internal problems there. Has that been a thing, Jeff? I don't know. Maybe I haven't been following this. I mean,
there's some, but I feel like there's always strife when it comes to making games. It's a stressful business, especially when you're making a gigantic game with hundreds of people. Sure. And so I don't think there's anything too out of the ordinary there. To me, that a lot of stuff is just this is what making games is like, and that is. That's a systemic problem, and it's a problem that underlies everything in games, and that's not to dismiss it. But I will say you're not completely off base in that management needs to predict these issues and head them off at the pass and sort of make sure they don't happen in the first place. But they are so common that sometimes it feels unavoidable, and hopefully we can get to a place where that's not the case. But I'm not like saying like all this falls on Phil and Bonnie.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there's some kind of management issue with the idea that this game was going to come out for the launch of Xbox Series X for as long as they thought it was going to. But I think that's more of a like a management than an HR issue per se, although I know those two are related. Yep. He also said, Jeff, with that gravelly voice, look into the camera and say, "Kung Fu Hot Dog, you rock. Thank you, man, and get better." All right, Monkey, do what he said.
Kung Fu Hot Dog, you rock.
There you go. I'm sure he's very happy about the money he spent for that. Yes. Epic Open World says, will we see real Dragon Age gameplay at EA Play?
I don't know. Man, we've had last week we barely mentioned EA Play, and then the whole internet went wild, and then there was multiple stories based on what we said, and at this point, I'm like, do we even want to say anymore? Like, I mean, I don't know. The answer is I don't know, but I'm also like hesitant about even finding out because we're gonna get this whole EA Play thing here in a few weeks, and we'll get to see for ourselves. And I don't necessarily want to just spoil it, but yeah, we'll see. But the answer is right now, I don't know. And if I look into it, we'll see if I'm even willing to share it. We'll have to just kind of wait.
It's just some schlub with opinions and not insider information. You would think we should maybe see something on that by now, right?
That's what I think. Yeah, I think it's time because they've given us updates 2 years in a row, 3 years in a row, almost like of small like little snippets of production art or whatever, and they've put voiceover on that or whatever.
Right. Can't do that again, can you?
I would think you can't do that again. And I would think that if you're BioWare, you want to maintain the momentum that you've built up with the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And part of that's saying, okay, we nailed that, and here's where we're headed next, and here's why all our fans who are like call themselves BioWare fans, why they should be excited. And I think you can't do that with just another CG trailer. Well, you could, but I think it would be a bad idea.
Freddy Plaza says, thanks for getting the word out on Trails, Mike. Honestly, some of the greatest stories in game history. Yeah, it's, the Trails in the Sky games, especially the first two, they kind of together tell this really, really good JRPG story. That's one of the best JRPGs you can play. I don't think it's on Switch in the US, which is a bummer, but you can get it on Steam, and it's totally worth it. It also said, guess I'll play Sonic Colors 2 for 2 years till then. I'll tell you what, that concert, like they did position Sonic Colors 2, especially towards the end of the first act with the symphony to kind of be like the last showstopper there. And then yeah, I'm pumped for Sonic Colors Remaster now. They call it Sonic Colors 2 at some point. Yeah, I'm pumped for Sonic Colors Remastered. Really excited for that. Even though, like, again, it's not like I ever thought that was an amazing game, but now I'm like, no, it is going to be an amazing game now. How could it not be? Listen to this music. Vincent says, hi, Jeff. Hi, Mike. What's your thought on Microsoft opening the Windows Store? Will we see more games coming straight to it? Yes, I guess this is something we could have talked about. Did you follow this at all, Jeff?
Yeah.
Sticky poo?
Yeah, I did keep an eye out on this while I was out sick. This is it's interesting. So, I mean, we already knew that Microsoft was lowering the revenue share to match basically what Epic is doing. So it's 12% for Microsoft, 88% for the developers and the publishers. That was already a good move. But basically now you could put anything in the Windows Store and bring your own commerce engine, which just basically means that if you want to work with a credit card company and have them do it yourself, Microsoft's going to enable you to do that for anything that is not a game. Games will still have to use the revenue sharing, I think, through Microsoft. Basically, you're going to have to give something to Microsoft if you're a game. But that revenue share is so much better than what's on Steam. Maybe that's okay, but honestly, not many people are buying games through the Windows Store. So while Microsoft making it more open, making it more favorable for devs is something, I think they need to get to a point where they're actually selling a significant amount of games for this to have really any meaning. I do think that the enabling developers who aren't making games to put apps in the store and keep 100% of the revenue as if they were like putting it on the web and just having you download an executable file, that's a big part of this, because that might ensure that more apps are in the store, that those apps are more updated and feel like the real full-fledged app, and people are more willing to use the store. And then that might lead more people to want to buy games through that store. I think it's all part of this same narrative, and it makes a lot of sense to me. And I would personally like that, because I'm lazy, and when I want to get Slack or something, I was trying to get Slack on my computer, I actually just went to the Windows Store first, and I got that version. I just got Slack from there instead, and I really prefer that actually, because I'm so used to just getting apps from the app stores on my phone that I don't mind Windows working the same way, even though it's against Tim Sweeney's perfect idea of everything just being open and on the web. I like that whole idea. So hopefully more developers support the store going forward, and then that leads to games actually selling on it and developers getting a bigger cut of their game sales. That'd be great.
Now, someone in chat just mentioned, this is a story maybe we should have brought up. Did you see that Warner Brothers games sold Playdemic to EA, which was a mobile studio. Theirs they made a Golf Clash was their big game. I think they even said like we're not selling other studios, but I don't know. What did you think that was interesting?
Yeah, I don't know if they explicitly said we're not selling other studios. I think they just
That's
said
what
our
this IGN headline says. They
yes.
calling IGN a liar.
I
I'm going to look at this while you go
Yeah,
spout
see
nonsense.
what they say. But my understanding was that they said we're selling this because the other studios make sense because they are contributing directly to IP that we are like valuing and keeping, and so
Man, it looks like you do know what you're talking about. That's exactly what this is saying.
yeah, so it suggests that they're going to keep those other studios, but I don't think they ever flat out said we're not selling.
I think I think it's more of like we're not planning to. Which
Yeah,
of course you're
right.
going to
But if
say.
like right, and I think selling Playdemic to EA is that's makes a lot of sense. EA wants to bolster their mobile revenue or whatever. Not much else to say there, but I don't think that those other studios are off the market by any means. I don't think that's what that meant.
To be clear, that was not an IGN issue. That was a Mikey reading comprehension issue. So
You're just a piece of shit, man. You're just throwing IGN under the bus, man.
I don't disagree with you there. We have a lot of friends at IGN too. We can't be doing that.
No.
All right.
Any more super chats?
One more super chat from James. Gosh, if this wasn't in the morning, I could pronounce this. Jamie Trulio. Let's go with that. Let's say Breath of the Wild. I know I said that name right before in the past. That's why I'm very disappointed in myself. Let's say Breath of the Wild 2 releases holiday 2022 when Nintendo keep Twilight Princess and Wind Waker in their pocket.
I don't know. It's a good question. So the reason that the reason that Jamie's asking it this way is because we pondered, I think, on the last episode that the reason we didn't hear about Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD at E3 is because Nintendo isn't sure that it's going to be able to get Breath of the Wild 2 out for holiday 2022, and so it's trying to have a big Zelda release every second half of each year. So this year it is Skyward Sword HD, and next year if it's not Breath of the Wild 2, well they have Wind Waker and Twilight Princess ready to go, so they could just release that instead. But if Breath of the Wild 2 does make it out, would they hang on to Wind Waker because they still had it in their pocket and they didn't have to use it? That's a good question. My hunch here would be that if we get into next year and Nintendo sees the finish line and says, hey, we are going to be able to get this game out, Breath of the Wild 2, at the end of this year, I bet they find a spot for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess before it, and they release that earlier in the year, like maybe in the summertime. But yeah, that's a good question, and I don't know, but that would be my guess.
If we don't see Twilight Princess Wind Waker by like summer 2023, should we like start giving up on that?
Yeah, by then summer 2023. Yes, I think maybe we should just give up on that. And really, that at that point, it's like, what is Nintendo doing? Why won't it release some of these games that it has finished and ready to go? Because I'm pretty sure that's what's happening with Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. Weird company.
Speaking about Nintendo being weird, do you think that they're looking at that Trails thing with the fan translation becoming the official one? Do you think there's anybody there like, we could do that with Mother 3? Or you think that's just not something they would ever do?
I bet there are people at Nintendo of America who say we could do that with Mother 3. And then people at Nintendo of Japan are like, how dare you talk to me? How dare you speak to me?
I think you're absolutely right.
Like, please, like, hang up the Zoom call. I'm going back to bed or whatever. I think the Nintendo of Japan just would never do that. It's a shame, but yeah.
Yep.
All right. I have a bunch of questions from our supporters in the Discord, and I can get to them right now. But if Mike gets any more super chats, he will gladly interrupt me, and we'll start reading those again.
No,
So
I'll
feel
read
free to
them
send
under
those.
protest only. They will not be happy about it.
This is from Nick Turbo. He sent this one in last week, but I did not hit it then. He says, Jeff, can you pay your mods with Arby's? And I think that's actually not a bad idea. I think we'll look into something like that because
don't some of our mods live in countries that don't have Arby's?
Well, that just sounds like their problem.
That sounds like a them problem. Yeah,
it's a them problem.
Yeah, Christian doesn't like that.
I think Christian's got. I think he said he has one Arby's, or maybe that was another restaurant. We'll have to find out. Either way,
no, he talks about McDonald's all the time.
Yes, he said McDonald's is the good one.
He's done. Yeah, he doesn't have an Arby's. Sorry.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, and then another one from Nick Turbo. With the year being almost half over, what is your game of the year so far? That's a fun one. How about you, Mike? What's your answer there?
Either Hitman 3 or Ratchet, I think. And then like it's in a weird situation because I've been playing so much Final Fantasy 14. It's been the game that's defined this year for me. and I can maybe consider it
Yeah, you
eligible once
could.
that expansion comes out later this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Like maybe the expansion will somehow be bad. It seems unlikely, but who knows? Chat's already saying "Ball in Wonderworld," right? That's
Yeah,
the
of
right
course
answer.
they
I
are.
didn't actually play it yet. So.
Yeah. For me, it's Hitman 3, and then followed very closely by Ratchet. That's Hitman 3 just really hit hard for me. I was really happy with that. I liked it even more than Hitman 2, and it includes all the content and great ways to like go back and play those levels over and over. And they're continuing to support it in really nice ways. So yeah, Hitman 3 is my game of the year so far.
Yeah.
Maybe we could next week, maybe if there's not a lot of news, maybe we could take some time and like look at our like top 5 so far this year or something like that, and talk about some other games. But Ratchet also really good. I will be shocked if Ratchet isn't in my top 3 by the end of this year. Like I don't expect there to be many games better than that.
Sure.
Let's see. This one's from Eric. Should they really be reviving Dead Space when they could be reviving Majestic? Mike, what's Majestic? Is that ARG game?
Gosh, I think so.
Majestic.
Isn't that old as hell?
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite as old as Ultima, but that's not something old. Majestic. Man.
Yes, Majestic.
Also,
Is that the one where like yes, like okay, so I'm just going to read. This is from the Wikipedia, but this is what I remember hearing about it. I never played Majestic, but I really regret missing out on it. Majestic was a science fiction thriller based on a Majestic 12 shadow government conspiracy theory. As an ARG, the game was played by phone, email, AOL Instant Messenger, BlackBerry Messages, fax, and by visiting special websites.
The BlackBerry game.
Yes, yes, and like getting fax messages. That was such a cool thing back then when ARGs did that. Gameplay frequently involved the player receiving clues that they would use to solve puzzles and unravel the story. All the messages were automated with limited dialogue options, but AIM provided some interactive conversations. That they should bring back Majestic. I think
under reception on Wikipedia, the first paragraph just says Majestic was a commercial failure.
Yes.
So
I never heard about it at the
Majestic.
time when it was happening. I never heard about it. It's something I heard about it later. So yeah, I think it's just the kind of thing where if you were into it, you would try to explain it to people, and then you would say the words BlackBerry Messages, and they'd be like, "Well, I don't have a BlackBerry. Go away." Back to Nick Turbo. Mike, let's play a game. Buy one game. This is just for you, apparently.
Wow, fun.
Buy one game, rent one game, and one game goes away forever. Monster Hunter Rise, Persona 5 Strikers, Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would probably buy Monster Hunter Rise. That game, there's a lot more to do there. You can master the other weapons. It's been getting content updates.
Where is that on your game of the year so far? Like, is that like your number 3 or 4?
In the top 10.
Okay.
I don't know if it's in the top 5. Maybe it sneaks in at 5. I don't know, but I've liked it a lot. I liked it even more like after my review from playing it more. I haven't touched any of the updates recently just because there's been other things I've been doing, but I'd be shocked if it wasn't in the top 10 by the end. Strikers, I don't know if it's gonna be a top 10. Maybe it'll get in there, but that would be my rent. That was a lot of fun. Resident Evil Village would be the one I'd get rid of forever. I did like it, but not necessarily my thing. Not nearly weeby enough. It tried with the giant lady, but not enough anime.
That's a big knock against it, Mike. Absolutely not enough anime. Nick, another one from Nick Turbo. Nick pulling like all the weight this week. If Dragon Age 4 bombs, will the next Mass Effect be canned? I don't think so.
They would at least want to try that out. First off, it'll be foreign development, and that's been a good money maker. I don't think Dragon Age 4 is going to bomb. That seems unlikely. I mean, even Andromeda, like, I wonder if did that quote unquote bomb? I guess relatively it did. It certainly did critically. Yeah. I don't know how much it sold. It must have. I bet it had to sell. Okay, I bet it probably still sold better than any Metroid game ever, right?
Yes, that's true. Yes, it definitely did that. Yes, but in terms of scope and return on investment, it was a failure, absolutely. But I think you're right. I think Dragon Age 4 will not repeat the Andromeda situation. I think it'll be much better than that. A big part of it is they're using the same characters, so at least you're gonna have that fandom probably be pretty satisfied by getting to go back and continue that story. From John William. not John Williams, from John
Yeah.
William. Howdy, I was just curious if there's any news on that Epic publishing deal made back in March of 2020. I'm mostly interested in the new game from Gen Design, Fumito Ueda's studio, though I'm also a huge fan of Playdead. I was hoping at least one of the Epic published studios would have an announcement at E3, but no dice. Do you think this is because Epic is currently facing Apple in court? Are the games not ready, or is Epic partnering with Sony/Microsoft for co-publishing deals? Keep up the great work, my dudes. Excuse me. I think that these games are probably just early enough that we're not hearing about them because there's not much to show. Yeah.
Right.
It's
yeah. I don't
not
think there's
Apple.
anything- Not
It's
Apple.
Yeah.
Did you see Tim Sweeney's like, oh, these corporate propaganda campaigns are so tacky?
Oh, I did see that, and I just saw someone say
my
that. I think it was like a Reset Era thing, and I'm like, I can't even look at that. I can't even like.
Oh my god!
I can't.
Then, like,
I don't
everyone
want to
pointed
see those
out,
words.
Like free Fortnite. It's like,
Yeah.
oh guys, come on, that doesn't count. It's like a fun cartoon. It's
Ugh.
like, oh,
Oh,
I
okay.
don't think you know what propaganda, or basically like that doesn't count because that's true.
that
oh my God,
that was so like secondhand embarrassment right there. I just like, oh,
Yes.
Tim Sweeney, you weird
self-owning.
bastard. Yes, that was very frustrating to see. I think you're going to hear about those games later, John William. I think you might have to wait a little bit, but I don't also think that the Epic's going to partner with Microsoft and Sony. I think that Epic's just giving a lot of money to these studios to let them do what they want, and then those studios are going to publish exclusively on PC on Epic. Well, they could probably also release them on like Uplay or whatever. They're just not going to release them on Steam. And then they'll also put them on console though. I think they'll be on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, but you'll just have to wait a little bit longer to see them. From Benji Bop, happy Friday, Jeff. Can't be trusted to review Mario Golf early. Grubb. It's not my fault. You gotta look at this other guy.
Yeah. Well, hey, come on.
I'm
now.
throwing
We
you
all
under the
make
bus.
mistakes.
Hey,
We all sometimes get a whole publication thrown into Nintendo jail now and
Yeah.
then. It happens.
I've definitely done the exact same sort of like bad thing that you did, and
What I did was barely bad. for
exactly.
sure.
That's what I mean. Like, yeah. You just mentioned like a fact a little bit early, and that's it.
Even when I did it, everyone like I remember I was like, "Are you gonna jump?" I was like, "No, who cares?"
Yeah,
Turns
right.
out they
Yeah.
can't.
No, and I've definitely done something along those same lines before, but that was the time we just got caught, and of course, it's like that's the thing they remember.
I guess I should just elaborate at this point. When the Mario 3D World review came out of Bowser's Fury, in my review, I said how like long it took me to beat the game, and I said how many cat shines there were, which apparently were both no-nos in the embargo thing. I think what happened was when I searched, because I do look at the embargo information, and Nintendo is notorious for having like a lot of weird
Very specific
things.
embargoed stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
A lot of specific stuff for games where the story doesn't matter at all, but they still have those things. But I think when I tried to look up the embargo in my email, and I just like Google like Bowser's Fury, what I got was like the reminder, the embargo soon. Here's the embargo date, and that was just what I saw. I was like, oh, okay, there's no bonus stuff here. So now, still, it was an embargo I agreed to, so it was a mistake.
Yeah. I mean,
and I
right,
totally
yeah.
owned up to it and apologized, but. Also,
Right.
like
Nintendo jail. That's where we live
we
now.
are in
and that-
Nintendo jail, and we're trying to get out. We'll see.
You know what? We'll make do. You know, I'm still going to talk about Mario Golf here in a little bit.
Sure.
And
I mean,
we're still going to talk about these games. It's fine. We'll still do our jobs just as best as we can.
How come Sony never threw us in jail? We were outed, or at least you were, as being working against them directly, and they let us run free.
Yeah, I think they just they know that they could crush me whenever they want, and they're just holding me under their boot. And
They're
they're just
definitely
waiting
not
for the right
using
moment.
your words to help promote their new big game or anything.
Yes, exactly.
Which also, to be clear, Nintendo has done all the time. I think one of them
Yes,
even ran after we put Nintendo jail, and I was a little annoyed from that. Like, oh, okay, I
Yeah,
can't review your games anymore, but go ahead, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
you can use our words
my
to sell your video games.
Make a commercial.
Yeah, whatever. Well, we're fine. We're not really complaining. We get video games for free. So, but this is
My life's hard.
Here's your nickname from Benji Bob. Mike, how do you not have Arby's have an Arby's 10-gallon hat yet, Minotti? Listen, I think that might just be a shipping issue.
Man, so I bought a shirt from their store, and it came in way too small, and I couldn't wear it. And it was going to be a big surprise. So that's a bummer. The hat's there. No, I don't want to buy that hat. I want that hat to be sent to me.
Okay, that's fair. That's right. Yes,
that is like
we're going to earn that
that's
hat.
the seal of approval, right?
Yes,
'cause
yes.
They sent one to some streamer recently, right? So it could happen. So
okay.
someday I'll get that hat. Also, my head is gigantic. I just assumed it wouldn't fit.
Yes,
So I don't
right.
want to spend my own money on it. But we'll see.
When I was in Mexico, I had to buy a hat because it was really hot, and I went to buy a hat from the store, and I bought the biggest one they had, and it sat up here like a little rim, like I looked like a friggin' that a cartoon gorilla from Hanna-Barbera, and
Wow.
it was, that's what it was like, and I'm like, okay, well, at least that one little spot on my head's not gonna get burned. What is the most overrated and underrated zoo exhibits? This is from Benji Bop again. And he says, thanks as always. Have a great weekend. I think God, that's a tough one, because I think a lot of these things are kind of pretty well rated. I think elephants might be a little overrated. I know that's going to be controversial because you can't really get too close to them, and sometimes they just kind of sit in the back. I guess if they're set up right and they're right there in your face, it's still impressive. But I think a lot of times you're kind of so far back that you don't really get a good impression of them.
I would say zebras are pretty overrated. They're basically just act like horses. They don't do anything interesting.
Right.
Like elephants can have some fun play behaviors. Like they can like start spraying water at each other, and they can kind of like roll
That's
around.
fair.
They can do interesting things. Zebras never do anything interesting.
Right.
Like the best you could hope for is to see them start humping or something. Right. So
Best thing.
At least I think anything with birds is underrated. I feel like people are like, oh, it's the aviary, and they kind of walk by. I think all the bird stuff's fun. I like the bird stuff.
Yeah, I think that's good, because I was having trouble thinking of anything that's underrated, but you're right. I think, and I love going into the
very
birds.
Smart.
Yeah,
so you can glove onto that. That's fine.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Yeah, let me just ride your coattails for once.
Right, there you go. Yeah. See, Jeff, I get the benefit of your like 60,000 Twitter followers or whatever, and you get to go to Nintendo jail with me. It's a great partnership.
Okay, got me real good.
It's funny because it's true.
Benji Bop says, follow up, Jeff, why are you going to the local zoo instead of flying to Orlando to go on the Kilimanjaro Safari 2-week adventure at Animal Kingdom? You might even get to kill a poacher. Well, I didn't know that. I would love to kill a poacher.
No, they got rid of the poacher storyline. There's a whole saga with that ride. It was kind of getting upsetting. They wanted to add more animals. Well, when the ride was in previews, there's this whole storyline where like there's two elephants. There's Big Red and Little Red, like the mama and the baby. And it like they're like, "Ooh, look out for poachers," because poaching's bad. Because we're like also trying to be like telling a story here. And at some point, you would come across like the carcass of Big Red, like the poachers had already, and that didn't last very long. The kids were upset, but for a while, then they just implied something bad happened to Big Red, and you would like run away from poachers. Like there'd be like a animatronic car that would zoom past you, and then at the end, you would see Little Red in a truck, and they're like, "Yeah, we got him. It's great." They got rid of all that and just added more animals now. But to be clear, that is most of my experience with zoos is Animal Kingdom and Disney World.
I really like the idea of killing a poacher, so that's upsetting to me.
You never killed a poacher. I don't know. Maybe you can imagine you ran one down.
Okay, yeah, and I will absolutely. This is from our number one fan, Jim Ryan. Hello,
hey Jim.
You better not be planning on leaking anything about our event. Jim, of course not. I never would. You don't tell him anything. You just other than that you love me and sweet nothings into my ear, Jim Ryan, of course.
I bet that's the real reason people were like mad, like thought you were like anti-Sony. It's just because you don't have a great like source at Sony right now.
It's definitely a big part of it, right? Yes.
Stuff, so you just don't talk about it as much for that kind of stuff.
Yep, it's definitely part of it. Yeah.
So
also, that's got to be the biggest motivation behind this blue box stuff, right? Is that they don't want that Kojima Xbox report that I've done to be true. So they're like, clearly Kojima's doing this thing with PlayStation, because this Bandit game is a PlayStation 5 game, and so that's where it's really happening.
And you talked about that somewhere, but you didn't really talk about it on the show that new hire that they had who's working on like the cloud gaming stuff, pretty much for Kojima's game, right?
Yeah. So I was going to report this week that Microsoft was bringing in industry cloud gaming experts to work with Kojima and help him make his cloud game for Xbox. And then Microsoft went ahead and just announced it, which is, of course, fair game. But yeah, Kim Swift, who worked on Portal and Left 4 Dead, and then she's been at Stadia working as like, their chief creative sort of person.
I bet that was a fulfilling job.
Right, exactly. And now she's coming in specifically to work with Kojima on his game. Like I was going to report that before they ever said anything. And then they announced it. They didn't say Kojima, but they said in the story. It's about working with independent developers. It's Kojima.
Is you think that deal's signed up now? Then, because I know you were saying maybe it wasn't signed or it wasn't
Close.
signed. Is
It's close.
close?
Yeah.
It
Yes.
sounds pretty
Like
close.
like
at this point, you'd think.
Right. So it's at a point where I think yeah, it's at a point where it's not gonna not get signed. Like they are just figuring out details basically.
Yeah.
And I'll have more to say about that soon.
My nose was so itchy during that, and I was trying not to scratch it as much because I'm like, if anything's getting clipped from this week, it's going to be that. So let me just get it out.
I feel like I do that all the time, and no one ever says anything. Everyone's really nice about it. So
I'm surprised. I touch my nose constantly. I don't know if it's the mustache or what. It's itchy as hell. It's driving me crazy. We got
go
a few
ahead.
super chats. And,
do it.
Okay, so John Warrener says, hey, recently on the Sacred Symbols podcast, Colin Moriarty said that he had heard Deathloop being a full PlayStation 5 exclusive, not timed. Have you heard anything similar?
I had not heard that, but I haven't like that never occurred to me.
We don't have great PlayStation sources right now.
Right, yeah, but I guess I could ask around about it on the Microsoft side and see, because it's a Microsoft game, right? So
yeah, there you go.
I'll ask and see. I think it's unlikely. Like, are there any sort of games like that that aren't published by PlayStation? Because this game would still be published by Bethesda, right? So, and even the games that are published by Sony still sometimes end up going. They at least go to PC, right? So,
right. Well, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? It's like a big one that we're still expecting to show up.
Right.
On other platforms.
I guess we'll see what happens with Final Fantasy VII Remake. If that never goes to Xbox, I guess maybe there's a world where Microsoft's doing that, where Sony's doing that. But I think that's unlikely.
Forchi says Phantom Abyss is my surprise game for this year so far. Phantom Abyss, which one's that?
I believe is that a Devolver one. Phantom Abyss is one that we've seen a few times, and it looks good. It does look good.
So you can hear us furiously tapping. Oh, is this like the? No, I don't know what this is.
Okay,
it looks kind of neat though. Like
Phantom Abyss is a whip-based platformer where you learn from the ghosts of fallen players. Right? Yes.
This
is the one where you're running through the stage and you see everyone who's played it before, but you only get to play it once. And so I think only one person's going to be each like level or something like that. It's a cool idea.
Yeah, it looks neat. Yeah,
that's a cool idea.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, I'm definitely into that whole idea. Absolutely. Go ahead. You got more super chats
for now. Kung Fu Hot Dog again says, "Gents, it's Friday night." Pizza nights. Favorite toppings? You guys dig root beer? Have a great weekend. I am just a pepperoni guy. Just put pepperoni, maybe sausage if I'm feeling spicy, but I gotta have pepperoni.
Yeah, I pepperoni and mushroom is kind of my classic. It's what I grew up on. But I also like a veggie pizza, and I like a Hawaiian with ham and pineapple and all that other stuff. That's really good.
All these vegetables and fruits you're throwing on there. I don't know about that.
No, it's real
it's
tasty.
More meat. Maybe put some prosciutto on there.
Prosciutto. Yeah, it's a gabagool. I'll put some gabagool on there. Sorry.
Did you watch Luca? I watched Luca last night. That new Pixar movie. It takes place in Italy. Ooh, yeah, that was good. I was very happy with it.
I've had it on in the background because my youngest daughter now sits down. They got Luca toys from McDonald's, and she's like, "I want Luca." That's how she says it whenever she wants to sit down. And I'm like, "Yeah." And from what I've watched, it's really fantastic. I just haven't sat down to watch the whole thing myself. I finally sat down to watch Soul actually, and that was way better than I was even thinking it would be. So. Lots of good stuff coming out of Pixar. Let's see. Root beer.
Wait, you didn't tell me. Yeah, root beer. I like root beer fine. I don't drink it very often. I'd rather have a Coke Zero.
Go to Shake Shack and get the root beer from the draft. They have root beer on draft there, and it's fantastic. It's really good.
I drink a lot of like the diet pops or sodas, and I haven't really found a great diet root beer. Like there's diet Barks is fine. There's diet what's that one in the bottle, Stewart's or something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe if I found an amazing one, but I feel like all the really good root beers, like there's that Sprecher around here. They make a very good root beer. I think they're actually in Milwaukee, and that's great, but it's not a diet. And maybe they have a diet, but you can't get that easily. My dad loves root beer.
I like Barks because it has bite.
It has bite, which I think just means it has caffeine. Right?
That's exactly what it means. And really, that's what I like. So good, yeah.
There you go.
All right,
this for super chats for now.
This comes in from our number 2 fan, Shill Spencer, or I'm sorry, Shill Pencer. Hello, frequent leaker. Did you think there's anything to the rumors about a Sony showcase on July 8th, or do you think we have heard, or we would have heard by now that was the plan? I wish I knew where those leaks were originating from. I haven't paid too close attention, but I just feel like last year we were hearing a lot of dates and they were always wrong, except for like I had heard a date real early and I put it on Reset Era and like that was right, and it's like okay, and then I heard a bunch of other dates and it made me question my date, and then all those dates never panned out, and I feel like this is the same exact thing, but I don't know that for sure. I have no idea, so maybe, but. I do think that there's a chance that we wouldn't have heard, so that this date could still be right. But we'll just have to wait and see. I do think if it's not July 8th, I do think we get something in July or August still. Like they're not like just like it's sort of common sense, right? That they're gonna have to tell us what's coming this fall at some point. And if they have this Ghost of Ikishima or whatever it is, they're gonna tell us that sooner rather than later. Especially if that's like their big fall release. If they can't get Horizon 2 out, so yeah.
Right.
From Giggy. Happy 25th to the Nintendo 64. What are your underrated N64 games? My picks are Ogre Battle 64, Person of Lordly Caliber, and Mischief Makers. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, Mischief Makers, great. Yeah, there was a lot of anniversaries. There's the Sonic one. There was the Nintendo 64 one, which to me, I'm weird. Like I'm almost like bitter at the fact that overshadows Mario 64's anniversary. Like to me, that's the more important one for some reason. 60. I mean, God, there's very few super underrated games. I think Chameleon Twist was a lot of fun, which was like a kind of a 3D platformer thing where you stuck your tongue out and then you kind of use the analog stick to like move the tongue around. That's the first one that really sticks out to my mind. See, I'm kind of the opposite for you. When I think Nintendo 64, I think of the very big hits. I think about Mario 64. I think about Smash Brothers. I think about Banjo-Kazooie.
I mean, of course. I mean, the thing I think about the most is playing GoldenEye with the guys on my football team in middle school. Right? It was junior high in Michigan, actually. And the one guy who had broken his leg in a game, and we were all over at his house. And I got real excited, and I slapped his leg, and everyone got mad at me and had to like punch me in the arm a bunch of times because I hurt our friend. That's what I think about. I think about GoldenEye. Wow. Yeah. But like I made a video going down the list of some of the other games I think about, because I do think a lot about the weird games, and it's there's actually not that many Nintendo 64 games, and
right,
so
compared to like PlayStation,
right, exactly. So you like, but there's still a lot of forgotten games, and so I think about Battle Tanks, which I think Battle Tanks 1 is actually pretty underrated. I think that Excite Bike 64 is really underrated because it's one that just doesn't come up in terms of like not even as much as like 1080 or Wave Race. And then
there's a series that maybe they should bring back but won't.
Yeah, exactly. And then
the one that was interesting was Robotron 64. Because that's not a bad 64. Game.
That's a really solid game. That was like the first great dual stick shooter before there was even dual stick controls. And the shooting controls was done with the C buttons, which were just buttons, not the C stick, on the N64, and it worked really well then. And if you go play it on an emulator now with that second, you do have a second stick. It feels really great. Robotron 64, fantastic game. So yeah, definitely. If you just thought like hop on RetroArch or whatever, try to get that one. That one's a lot of fun, especially if you're like passing the controller back and forth and trying to get high scores. It's a good game for that. Pinball RJ, what's more sad? Sonic fans hopeful that a game will be good, or Silent Hill fans thinking a new game actually exists? That's a tough one, man.
That's a tough one. Is it mean to say that the Silent Hill fans sure are pretty passionate for a series that had one good game?
I don't think it's that mean. I don't know.
I know that's not true, but I mean, as somebody who's not a big fan who only played Silent Hill 2, it sure seems like the only one people talk about is Silent Hill 2.
There were people talk about that shattered memory, like the Way Forward game.
Yeah,
the Way Forward made one.
Okay.
And like people like that, but I think now like even that's been like, no, that actually wasn't as good, which is a weird like reversal of the normal way things work. So
like Silent Hill 1 and 3.
Sure, people like a lot of things.
I know. That was not entirely genuine, but somewhat genuine. Like it is a series where it's certainly one game that everybody agrees is the best, right? Like I'm sure there are people who disagree, but I don't know.
It's not like the Metal Gear Solid franchise where people like have varying opinions on which one's the best, right?
Or Sonic the Hedgehog, right?
Or Sonic. Silent Hill fans, listen. I think there is probably a Silent Hill game in the works, but it's still kind of sad a little. Yeah, I mean, not that Sonic fans aren't sad; they're also definitely sad. But yeah,
Well, no, see, because they're not, because they're either like me and they don't really think it's going to be good, or they are these people who are mad at me for saying something mean about Sonic Unleashed, and they're all good to them anyway. So they will like it will be good for them.
That's fair.
So they'll be
you're
happy.
okay.
They're not sad.
There's no sadness in delusion. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. We're all fine. We know what's going on.
All right, we got a game from Ray Mogos here. Happy Fridays to the Beef and Cheddar Boys, which is a very good name. Oh, very good name.
Fantastic. That should be the author name for us on iTunes. The Beef and Cheddar Boys.
That is, you're absolutely going to happen.
The
Beef and Cheddar Boys. God, it's a good gang name. You must buy one game, rent one game, and one game goes away forever. Sonic Adventure, Donkey Kong 64, Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay, interesting. Wow. This is very interesting because like I feel like I should say buy Banjo-Kazooie because it's a better game than Sonic Adventure. But man, did I like Sonic Adventure as a kid. I liked that game a lot. I thought it was just the best thing ever. And I know I don't like saying games maybe age poorly, but Sonic Adventure has aged poorly in a lot of ways. But I think I'm still going to buy Sonic Adventure. It's awful, but I'm going to buy Sonic Adventure. Then I'm going to rent Banjo-Kazooie because it is actually very good and it's fun to play and lots to do. I never cared that much for Donkey Kong 64, so that one's an easy. That's the one that gets thrown out.
Yeah, I think I have always have a morbid curiosity about going back to Donkey Kong 64 because I'm like, it can't have been that bad, but
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure it's not that bad.
Right. It is just it may be one of the worst paced games ever made. It is just so egregious in its backtracking and making you play the same stuff over and over and over. This Banjo-Kazooie is an easy buy for me. I know that's boring, but that's me. And I think I will rent Sonic Adventure, which I never liked, but I think
Sonic Adventure 1 has an amazing early Dreamcast vibe, man.
And I think I'm buying it for those or renting it for those vibes. Yeah, like I love Dreamcast and I love the vibes of the Dreamcast, and that game captures it. You're absolutely right, and that's what I'm renting it for. And Donkey Kong 64 can go away forever. It can.
Just open your heart, Jeff. Yeah. Open your heart, dude. I remember downloading that first trailer, and the first trailer was. Yeah. Sorry. Well, Live and Learn was Sonic 2.
I know. It came from my heart. I'm sorry.
Your heart was wrong. That first trailer it like looked like a Godzilla movie because it was just that tidal wave going through the city and then like that giant chaos coming out of the building and then like cut with just Sonic running. It was like Sonic Adventure. I was like, oh, this is going to be the greatest game of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard not. I think that based on what you were seeing from those early screenshots and stuff, it was but. Not exactly.
I remember renting the Dreamcast from Hollywood Video, and they wouldn't get like before it came out, and they wouldn't give you a VMU. So we just kept the Dreamcast on for like a week while we were playing Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure, like that's so super nostalgic. That's an easy buy. I have to do it. I'm sorry, even if I have to play as Amy and Big the Cat. Actually, the Big the Cat levels will be a nice change of pace. Go fishing. We'll do it.
These we got another one of these games. This one's from Low Rule. Buy one, rent one, one gets canceled. Elden Ring, God of War Ragnarok, and Starfield. This is an interesting one. I like that.
Yeah. I want to buy Starfield because I'm very curious and I'm very hopeful. I will probably try God of War because I liked the last one and I'm curious to see where that goes. I'm not a giant Souls fan, so it's I feel bad after our channel's been so heavily associated with Elden Ring that I'm going to now throw it into the abyss. But that's the one.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I'm gonna buy Starfield. I love Skyrim. I love the Bethesda open world games, the Bethesda Game Studios games. I want to see what. Excuse me, but a sneeze. Nope. All right, pass. Sorry about that. Yep. So I'm going to buy Starfield. I'm going to rent Elden Ring, and I thought God of War 2018 was boring. I know it's a well-made game. It was just not for me at all. It was not
for you. This is why people get mad at you for disliking sad dad games.
Yes. I dislike most of the sad dad canon, and including God of War 2018. Who knows? Maybe this one will win me over, but right now I'm not excited for Ragnarok.
It's going to be very similar to the last game, Jeff.
I agree. That's why I'm canceling it. So I'm definitely going to rent Elden Ring there. After Sekiro, I'm always going to try what From does, but Starfield's just right up my alley. It looks exactly like the game I want. So yeah. Let me cross that one out. We got a few more. Eric says, Jeff, are you going to be flying solo in your Giant Bomb show, or will you be joined by one of those guys? I think mostly it's going to be solo. I might pop up on one of their podcasts here or there, but on my show, it's going to be kind of like the new show I was doing on Twitch before E3. I might find a kind of a different thing to do on Twitch going forward, because I think the new show makes sense for what Giant Bomb's looking for. But yeah, I think it's mostly going to be solo, and if and then if they want me in on some other stuff, I'll help them out for sure. But for that show, it's going to be the Jeff Grubb show. From Jimmy DeBra, when Mass Effect Legendary Edition released, there was some talk about a multiplayer comeback if the interest was there, but that's died down. I know you guys have said it doesn't make much sense to bring back Mass Effect 3 multiplayer, but have you heard anything either way about multiplayer? Will we see anything Mass Effect related at EA's event, or will we just be waiting for the next mainline game? I continue to think we're not going to see the multiplayer. It just like we said before, just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's kind of putting good money after something that's like, if you want to play that multiplayer, the old multiplayer is still there. I'm sure there's like a lot of issues with it now. I bet there's like cheating or something. I don't know.
And there isn't that much of a clamor for it. I mean, there's some people who want it, sure, but
I know there's people who love it.
Yeah, you gotta take people off of Dragon Age right now to work on that.
No,
bringing that over, no.
Right, and if there's some people who really have that like in their heart, like, oh, we want to work on something like that. Maybe start building the next one for the next Mass Effect game instead.
Hey, this isn't Valve. You do what you're told.
Yeah, yes, you're right. That's a good point. Keywork asks, their number. Let me read this. Number 1, any truth to AT&T saying they won't sell any other studios? We talked about that a little bit. I do not think I would not phrase it that way. I would not phrase it that way. But I'm sure that there is more reasons to hang on to Rocksteady than there was to hang on to Play Stadia, Play Studio, Playdemic. Thank you, Mike. Number 2, do you have any info on NetherRealm's new game? We don't have any specific info. We're speculating like everybody else. I think the most likely thing is just Injustice 3, right? That seems like
that's what I'm expecting at this point.
That's what I'm expecting too.
I know there was rumors about Marvel being involved, but it's just hard to believe.
Right. Number 3 from Keyword. Mike, what are your thoughts on Universal's Epic Universe? Disney has shown reluctance to invest in its American parks post-pandemic, while Comcast has doubled down. Will this decision close the competitive gap in Florida?
Well, it could. I mean, Harry Potter closed a lot of that competitive gap, and that was a big turning point, and that's why Disney started investing like crazy again in Orlando and in California. And a lot of its parks, that's where we got the Avatar Land and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. We're all pretty much directly inspired by that. And yeah, the pandemic definitely slowed that down kind of awkwardly, because they're in the middle of some big stuff for Epcot specifically. They're in the middle of building a Tron roller coaster in Magic Kingdom. So there'll be more. I mean, what else can Disney do? I don't think they're going to build another park themselves. 5 theme parks may finally be pushing it. But maybe some other big lands. It's going to depend. The big thing here, and I think the thing everyone's excited about, is the Mario Land, the Super Nintendo World, which is already out open in Japan. And that could be like a Harry Potter size hit for Universal. That could be a big deal. And then if it is, they could very easily just be like, well, let's open up a Zelda section here. Now we have all this Nintendo stuff we can pull from. And that may get Nintendo or Disney rather investing once again. But I think Disney's going to not be going as hard as they did the last decade in this upcoming one.
I mean, is that a mistake? Because it feels like people are going to go wild for getting out in the world and stuff, and theme parks are going to be a big part of that.
Well, so Disney doesn't have a attendance issue right now. I will say that, right? Like their issue right now, a lot of the time, more so is our parks are too crowded. And we maybe need to increase prices, but if we do that too much, we're going to get mad. Like that, those are some of the bigger issues. And of course, they have to build new stuff, and they do. So it's going to have to affect them a bit more monetarily. I don't know if it can be like Harry Potter again, where they're just mad that people aren't going to their parks, even if enough people are going to their park.
Okay.
So it'll be interesting. We'll have to wait and see a bit. We're still a couple years out from this Epic Universe park opening.
Right, and I just want that Super Mario World so bad. So
it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fantastic.
Years away, but I can't wait. 3 more. Souls Ninja. Hi, Jeff and Mike. Hope you are good and staying hydrated. Mike's right on cue. Have you heard anything about Konami outsourcing their IP? Could Microsoft jump in and get something for Kojima? Cheers. So,
what?
Yeah, like what? The Kojima game at Microsoft, I don't think is going to end up being an existing IP. I think it's going to be something new, but I think it's not like there's a super solid plan in place for that game. It's early, and basically Microsoft seems like they're showing up for Kojima and not necessarily showing up because the pitch is some specific thing that they're really excited about. I mean, obviously it's a cloud thing and they're excited about that side of stuff, and that's why they're bringing in Kim Swift. But if you were to go ask Phil Spencer right now, hey, so you guys are making a deal with Kojima, what's his game? I think Phil Spencer would be like, well, we'll see. I think they're at that stage with that, and to me that suggests that going in and specifically nailing down an IP is not in the cards. That's not what they're looking at right now. All right, so this one's from Louis Patelli, who asks, so I guess we should have known we were going to get this question. So, Dead Space?
Damn it.
Now, did we ever say the words Dead Space?
We never said Dead Space. That was other people who said Dead Space. And now people are going back and finding clues that maybe don't exist to say that we were hinting at Dead Space. You just said they're bringing back an EA IP.
Yeah. Look, I think this is we like doing this on the show. We like talking about these sorts of things that aren't announced and getting people excited about things. But we do try to strike a balance where we're giving people clues and information, and we're talking about unreleased games and unannounced stuff, and also not necessarily spoiling the surprise for people who are working on announcing games. And right now, I'll say that I think that the speculation online is, I think, hitting the right tone in terms of people are guessing a lot of stuff. There is a lot of people saying Dead Space. There's a lot of people saying a lot of other games too. And I think for now, the speculation seems to be, I think, along the right lines in terms of this is kind of still exciting. And if something gets announced, people will still be pretty excited. And I don't want to ruin that yet. We'll see. We'll see if there's anything else to say about this. But for now, well, I'll just keep saying I'm enjoying the speculation like everyone else.
Mm-hmm. What's the opposite of dead, Jeff?
In live.
Just asking.
Makes you think. Louis Vitelli also asks a Fallen Order 2 announcement at EA Play. I think not. I'm pretty sure that we will start hearing about Jedi Fallen Order 2 in 2022. That's when they'll start talking about that game. I know.
I'm ready for it now.
I know, me too, and that's why I asked about it, and that's why I have information about it, because I was wanting to hear about it too. And then, but it seems like we're not going to hear about that game until next year, and that's fine. Honestly, maybe Respawn has a hope. I do not know, but I would love for them to have also something else in the works. That would be great. That team should expand and just work on a bunch of games. But yeah. All right, that does it for the questions from the Discord. Thank you everybody for all those questions. That was really great stuff.
Got a couple more super chats that came
Let's hit them.
Uriel Delgado asks, is there any truth to an old rumor of From Software making an Xbox exclusive? A sci-fi game is what the rumor said it was.
Mike, I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry.
What are you doing? You're doing it immediately. Oh my god! You're
sorry. I'm reading it. Okay. Is there any truth to the old rumor from someone making? I don't think this. Miles is in chat. Miles, you were the one that people pointed to and said you were the one that said this is going to happen, even though that's not what you said. So ask Miles Dampier, who's in chat, what's going on with that. And my thinking is that was just wires getting crossed among people in the community and not necessarily listening to what was being said.
Don't you think Sony would be throwing some money out to get a sequel to I don't know why I'm brain farting on that. Yeah, Bloodborne. Don't you think Bloodborne 2 should be on the agenda for PlayStation 5?
I mean, if you're at Sony and you're not making that happen, it's almost like neglect.
Criminal?
Yeah,
like that. Then one more from Forchi. Will you hot tub stream? With a lot of question marks and exclamation marks.
Forchi, I'll do it, but I'm going to do it in one of those old-timey full-body bathing suits, like the stripy ones. Yeah, I'll do that, and I'll do it black and white and stuff, and Yeah, absolutely.
Artistic. Like maybe I'll come visit you sometime, and that's when we'll do the hot tub stream.
There we go. That's how we'll do it. That'll be fun. Yeah, we'll go get a cabin in the mountains or something. Take the family and we'll set it up. That'll be fun.
Take your fit. I don't know if it's me and you, it's one thing. If it's me, you, and your family, and I'm just sitting there with all the body hair in the world in this like stew pot with them, I don't know about that.
All right, good point. I didn't think about that. All right, everybody. We're going to talk about some games right after this. All right, how you doing, chat? If you want to give a thumbs up if you're watching live, we're going to talk about some games next. If you have any more super chats, feel free to hit us with those. Mike, do you need a break? Or are you ready to go?
I think I'm ready to go.
All right, let's get back into it then.
I do like that I have the option for a break now. Very nice.
Yes. We're going to start doing that. Because the show's been going longer, so yeah. Okay. Mike, I have been playing Mario Golf Super Rush. This is something that just came out last night. I started playing it right at 10 p.m. Mountain Time when it was available to me, and I think it's good. It's solid. It seems to be a really solid mechanical golf game that like you would expect. Now,
people seem kind of nonplussed about it. I don't know. I'm kind of like skeptical about buying it now.
Right. So I pre-ordered it, and I don't regret it because it's got a lot of the stuff that I do want, but. I think the big complaint I'm hearing from people who are fans of the series is that it's missing some of the key things that made the 3DS one so good, specifically online tournaments. And looking at the game and like looking at the options, like I'll go in adventure mode, but I don't have a lot of faith that this adventure mode is going to be what I want. It's not going to be.
It's not. It's like an extended tutorial. And
I never ever expected it to be though.
We want Mario Golf Advance is what we
want,
and we're never getting that.
Right. I never expected to be that. I was like, this is not, people are saying it's going to be that. It's not going to be that. There's no way.
I believe that too first. Well, because they made a point in the trailer to kind of like make a big deal about it. And they were tricking us. They knew what they were doing.
Yep. They knew what they're doing, and I knew what they were doing too. So, yeah. And so like, but I'm like, okay, still though, that means like, so then what am I going to do when I go to play this game? I could try to play online, but they're in the Super Rush mode. And that seems like a cool thing. I haven't actually tried that yet, which is like, you're racing to try to do the holes as fast as possible, and you have all these power-ups, and you're actually running on the course, and all that stuff's cool. But you know, I could see like online tournaments being the kind of thing where like that's actually what I want to do. Just go on there, play some asynchronous multiplayer, and try to hit my best score and compete against a bunch of other people at the same time, and including some friends who are also all in the tournament. That could be really cool, and not having that option is a bummer. So it's like, am I just kind of going to be playing against the AI until my friends get online? Excuse me. And it's that as a package, it feels less complete, and it feels more like it is for a party game scenarios where you're going to be playing with people on the couch sitting next to you, right. And it's for that audience instead. And I could see Nintendo saying like, yeah, we're making this Mario Golf for the audience that's buying the Switch, and a lot of them are families, and that's who we want to cater to. And I think that's fine to a certain extent, and it's definitely a good golf game for them, and it's a good golf game mechanically for people who like golf games. But I think it is going to be hurt overall over time by not having like something like online tournaments.
I heard people say that there's not a lot of courses too, and that's a little disappointing.
Right. I've only had the 2 so far, and I think I just unlocked the 3rd. I think the course. I think there might be 5 or 6 or something. I didn't count actually, but yeah, it's in that range.
It's weird because like I know I like Mario Golf, and I'm sure this is it's Mario Golf. I'd have fun with that, but I'm not even interested in online at all. Like whatever if they had that asynchronous multiplayer thing, that would be interesting. But
right,
I like the 3DS one. It's not like I played a ton of that, even though people like that one a lot. So it's hard for me to be like, I'm going to buy Mario Golf, which I know I will like, but how much am I really going to play it? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of people who are kind of burned at Mario Tennis in that regard. We're like, yeah, it was Mario Tennis. It was fun. But how much of Mario Tennis are you really playing on your Switch with everything else on there?
Right. And I really love the online multiplayer, like fighting game aspect of Mario Tennis. Even I kind of bounced off quicker than I thought it was going to. I still think that game is fantastic. But it like there's a reason people stopped playing after a few days, and it sort of dried up. But I think I played 3 matches online last night, and we kind of played like the standard golf, and like without running along the course or whatever, not Super Rush mode. And that was fun. It was a really good time, and there was power ups involved and all that stuff, and I enjoyed that a lot. But that worked because everyone was online at the exact same time because it just unlocked, and I bet I never play it online like that ever again. I am almost positive that will never happen again. But I guess if you make a point of it to play with friends, like it could work out. But like the PGA Tour game from 2K also has like online modes, and if you make a point to go play that, that's also just as fun. And now it's like a little bit cheaper, and it has a lot more courses, and so it's like it's a realistic thing. It's for a different audience. But if you're like a golf fan, like I think the PGA Tour might make more sense for you. There's like more content and then the online mode is even more robust, I think. But
what game fans and friends and family ask me about all the time that they want is a new Mario Strikers.
Right.
You would think why not? Because it seems like a lot of people ask that, but that doesn't seem like it's on the horizon at all.
No, they did just buy the team that made that, right?
That's the Mario. That's the
Luigi's Mansion team. Yeah.
Which that seems like it would be a good in between project between like Luigi's Mansion 3 and the next Luigi's Mansion, like how to make Mario Strikers. But I don't know.
I mean, I agree. I think a lot of the Mario sports games should come back. Yeah, absolutely. But I think Strikers should be at the top of the list.
That Square Enix basketball game that they made
on the DS one, or the one where you like played with the
DS one.
Yeah, you played with the actually flicking.
And Sluggers, where Donkey Kong just like used his arm.
The thing about Hoops that I remember is the 1UP show where Luke Smith and Brian Intihar talked about it, and they're like kind of like criticizing the game, and they were working in games journals, and Luke Smith is now the director of Destiny 2, and Brian Intihar was the creative director on Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales. And it's like, it's weird to go back and watch that video of them talking about this weird DS basketball game.
They learned everything they know from Sonic Hoops or Mario Hoops.
Mario
Hoops.
That'd be a whole other thing. Sonic Rings. I just started playing that last night. I think I'll have more to say next week. I'm not going to stop playing it. I'm going to kind of see it through. Although I'm not like someone in chat's like, oh, it's a 4-hour adventure mode. I'm like, not even sure I want to play that at all now that I learned more about that adventure mode. So I might just play more.
A lot of meaningless text boxes in that one, I imagine.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been faced with so far. And I guess
if they at least like did something smart or funny, like centered it all around Waluigi, like make that a Waluigi campaign, that'd be interesting at least.
Right, and they made Waluigi and Wario like the enemies in the Mario Tennis campaign, but that campaign was so bad. I really despised that campaign. I think it's probably a little bit better here, but yeah, still, it's just your Mii character you're basically playing as, and that's not as exciting.
So we got a super chat here, kind of ties into a game I've been playing, so let's bring that up. From Kung Fu Hot Dog, gents, rough head count on physical games you own, and will it be digital in future for you? So, like one of the games I did play, I've been playing this week was Sonic Mania on my Switch again because of that concert. I was hyped and wanted to play something. Like I was in my bed, I was all snuggly, I was ready to like play, and then I realized that this was one of the few games I did own physically on the Switch, and like I had to like get up and go to my case over my dresser, and I was so annoyed by this mild inconvenience. And yeah, I hate to say it because I thought it was a hardliner for a while, but I just like digital now. It's just much easier. It's just better. I know, like at some point, I may not actually own these things anymore, and maybe that's going to suck. I don't know, but it's honestly worth it for me. Like it's bad to say, but it's kind of worth it for the convenience.
Yeah, it's the future for me is digital. Absolutely, the present and really the recent past has been all digital. I think I was trying to make rent back when I was broke and just kind of starting this like during the 360 era, and I sold almost all of my physical games. So now I think I own less than like 50, definitely less than 50, probably less than like 30 actual physical games in my house, and everything's digital. I have hundreds of games on my Steam account. I've got my 3DS is jam packed with games. I love having like all my digital games on my 3DS. So whenever I find it, I don't have to actually also go search for the games, which is like a bummer when I find like my Game Boy Advance and I'm like, okay, now I want to play some games. It's like, well, where the hell are those? And so it's like since the 3DS, definitely I've been all digital, and I've loved it, and it's been great, and it's very convenient on the Switch as well.
The fact that all the publishers started just sending code, like digital codes for everything instead of mailing games, I was like, that kept me. I was like, I actually like this better, it turns out. He also just says the next Uncharted game will be a reboot with the Tom Holland model. I wouldn't be so sure about that.
That would be very weird.
Very weird.
Problem is like they'd have to pay money to get Tom Holland's face,
Right?
and then they'd also have to get the voice because it'd be weird if it was like if it was just Nolan North or whatever speaking out of his.
Imagine though if they got Marky Mark to be Sully, and
that would be okay. Never mind. I'm all in on this. Never mind. Kung Fu Hot Dog knows what they're talking about. This is all correct. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chats, Kung Fu Hot Dog. Okay, so you said there was it was related to a game you've been playing. Oh, Sonic Mania, because you went to go get that.
Sonic Mania, which is still fantastic. Sonic Mania is incredible. And I'm playing as Mighty the Armadillo, who I loved ever since Knuckles Chaotix, and the fact that I could just play as that weirdo, that like little no character in this game makes me very happy. I would just finish Press Garden, which is maybe the all-time best Sonic zone. Like I love that weird like fantasy garden, but also it's a printing press. That's super creative. I love stuff like that. So yeah, Sonic Mania is fantastic. If you're gonna play one Sonic game, that might be the one.
Yeah, it is that one.
Yeah. But that's really, I mean, I play Final Fantasy 14 still constantly, Jeff. It's been really interesting. Like, so like I talked about a little bit last week, but like there's this big, I'm not sure how much the shift is real. It's certainly there, but a lot of WoW people and a lot of the WoW content creators are talking about Final Fantasy 14, and Asmongold is the big one who's going to try it soon. And some people are kind of freaking out about that because he's by far the most popular World of Warcraft streamer.
Yeah.
So I mean, what is that going to mean if he likes the game? And I don't think he'd ever stop playing World of Warcraft. What if he starts playing both? Or what if he just bounces off immediately? Is that bad? Or what if he just comes and hundreds of thousands of his friends follow and start either populating a server in a good way or destroying the server with their antics? Who knows? So it's interesting, but it's weird. Final Fantasy 14, even though it's on the end of an expansion cycle, seems like to be like as talked about as ever right now.
I like the idea of MMOs just because the idea that someone's antics could cause problems for their game. Like, that's a threat that is real.
He's so popular. Like whatever server he picks, there are going to be just a zillion people going there to like be on his server, and trying to like find his character and stuff. That's not his. Like some people like get mad at him about that. Like, oh, that's not his fault.
Right.
And he's like a bit of a character when he wants to be like. So he has like an abrasive personality, and some of that is just right. You know about Osmongo. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know if that's like a foreign territory to you.
Yeah, I watched a video about World of Warcraft not too long ago from Dan, I can't remember, Foldable Human on YouTube, and he focused a little bit on Asmongold's abrasive characteristics in there, and I'm like, oh wow, this human is like that, very abrasive. So yeah,
but he's actually, I don't know, maybe I'm just watching the wrong things, but I used to think I hate him. Now I'm like turning around a bit. He just had like a interview session with my favorite Final Fantasy 14 content creator Zeppela, and she was talking to him about the game because she was like from like years ago a WoW refugee, as they call it, to Final Fantasy 14. So it was interesting. But yeah, there's just like a lot of this talk going on right now. Square Enix did a campaign yesterday where if you donate subs and specific like Twitch partners, you get a mount in the game. Like they seem to be taking advantage of this. I don't think there was that thing going around like, oh, Final Fantasy 14 has more players than WoW now. I don't really think that's true. Like you can't actually get like data that specific on it. There's metrics you can get. You can certainly see that maybe the one game's slowing down a bit and the other one's rising. Also, World of Warcraft had a very long content drought, and that's about to end soon. It's getting a major patch. I think in just a few days. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's at the end of this month. So that's going to help. So, but it's just very interesting how Final Fantasy 14 seems to be hitting its stride now, right? Like it's been a bit.
Yeah,
it's been a bit, but people are really excited. It's weird because like I don't know how I get caught up in these trends because I felt like I was making independent decisions when I just started playing a ton of Final Fantasy 14, like starting 3 or 4 months ago. And it turns out like that's like when everyone else decided to also.
I'm not collective consciousness things. Yeah, everyone's just like. Yeah. It was probably just something everyone was feeling something similar and seeing like the nice words being said about Final Fantasy 14 around that time, which, I've been hearing nice things about that game for a while, but at a certain point, if it's months and months and months and it turns into like a year of like nonstop nice things about Final Fantasy, it's kind of hard to ignore. And if you're feeling bummed about World of Warcraft, why not go check it out?
And it has a free trial that includes the critically acclaimed expansion Heavensward.
Oh, it does it now. Yeah. Is this a meme where it's like, yes, oh yeah, you can play it? Yeah, okay.
But it's a very smart marketing meme,
Yes,
right? Like if you want there to be a meme about your game, you want it to be advertising your free trial.
Right,
So,
exactly. That's what gets me. I'm like,
up to level 60.
I've heard people say this exact thing about Up to Heaven's Word so many times. I'm like, this has got to be like a joke, but also it's like exactly
really
what you want to hear. Yeah.
It is kind of amazing because like that alone is probably
Up to
like
level 60.
200 hours of content, maybe a little bit less than that, but it's a lot. It's certainly enough to know if you like the game or not.
Right. Yes, for sure. All right, I've been playing a few other things. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 on the Switch is very good.
Your video.
I put a video.
I was surprised by how good it looked. I thought that it would be like a shit show on Switch.
Me too. I was expecting a shit show. I was expecting it to feel clumsy and kind of sluggish. It feels like Tony Hawk. That's like when I'm playing it, it's absolutely just Tony Hawk, and that's what I was hoping for at the best. And they nailed it. They did mess up the restarts. When you restart in Tony Hawk, you want it to be pretty quick, around 1 to 2 seconds. Here it's about 5 to 8 seconds. That's a little bit. That doesn't
sound like a big deal, but like you could be restarting a lot in a Tony Hawk game. That could get annoying real fast.
Yes. So yeah, like I'm not restarting a ton right now because I'm very, very, very familiar with these levels, and I don't need to restart as much as I did. But if you are trying to like hit a certain like combo, or if you're trying to get a specific line, or you're trying to like get like, you know, if you're in a competition with your friends, say, who can get 2 million points on this level, you have to do it perfectly, and you have to do it perfectly from the start. And if you mess up a trick, like if you mess up your first trick, you're going to be like, restart. And in the old games, like even on the PlayStation, which is a CD-based system with terrible loading times, that it still restarted pretty much immediately on that system. And so to have it on a modern day console and be 5 to 6, 7, 8 seconds, that's it's really sluggish and ruins the pacing a little bit. But I am finding myself still being mostly okay with it because it is such a solid and full Tony Hawk experience on the go. And it's, you know, if I have to choose between having Tony Hawk with some kind of frustrating occasionally loading times, or no Tony Hawk at all because because I don't have access to a TV or whatever, I'm going to choose to have it on the Switch. And they nailed everything else about it. It's really well done. So yeah, I have a video about that.
Some compromises with it being on the Switch, and they can maybe those restart times can improve with patches.
I hope so. That would be great. But yeah, it's 30 frames per second. I think it's running at like 720p. They definitely scaled down some of the visuals. You just don't notice it much when you're actually going in action. And I do believe that they've done the thing that Ubisoft did with Trials on Switch, which is, the game is running at 30 frames per second visually, but in the background, it is updating the control inputs at 60 hertz so that so it feels as responsive as a 60 hertz game. And that might not sound like much, but it makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
and I think
that's what they're doing. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yes, that's like some pretty smart engineering stuff that they did on Trials, and I'm like, I hope every game on Switch that is like this does that, and I think that's what they're doing.
You like Trials and I like Trails.
We're so different, but it's kind of the same.
You know, there's someone in chat asked if I played the Sea of Thieves new thing, A Pirate's Life, and I haven't yet, just because my one brother's been on vacation, and we're kind of waiting for him.
When does he get back? I'll play a video game with you, Mike, because I really want to play that.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. I had a potential for it, but maybe I'll kick him to the curb.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Honestly, I feel like I'm still going to need him because you never play games with me. You're just teasing me.
No, I really want to play that. So yeah.
Okay.
Let me know when you guys do, and if I can get in there, I'll get in there.
Sounds good.
Lego.
Let's get that installed now. Let's get ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I think I have it. I just need to update it on my PC. Lego Builder's Journey is a new puzzle game that is actually it's like a really solid puzzle game. It's about moving a tiny minifig from one side to the other. Not even like a minifig. It's like just like the round pieces put together to look like a person. And it does a couple things where like the puzzle stuff is it's solid. It's not like gonna blow your mind, but it's done with in the framework of this story where there's no text boxes. It's all told through like the motions and sort of the suggested, like the lighting and all this stuff, and the body language of these small little characters. And it's really affecting because like you have like the dad character and you have the child character that you're actually sort of controlling. And it's a busy, sad dad. Yeah, this is a sad dad game. Oh my God,
Oh,
Mike!
no.
But it's a good one.
Whoa! Miracle, miracles!
Yeah, it's a sad dad has to like he's like, oh, like I'm going to show you how to like start a campfire and stuff. And starting a campfire is you are putting logs on this thing, like connecting it as Lego pieces, and then you put like a log in the middle, and it lights up. Or it's not even a log; it's like a little red glowy piece, and when you put it in there, it actually glows. And the game uses RTX lighting on the PC, so it looks fantastic. It looks realistic. They look like real Lego pieces with absolutely realistic lighting. It's incredible. But then like, you get to the point where the dad has to like clearly like go to work and can't be with the kid, and the kid's kind of left on their own, and you kind of cut to these dad scenes every once in a while, and the dad's doing stuff that's very repetitive, and the kid's still trying to explore the world and learn the world. And again, no text, but it's all kind of conveyed through either the gameplay or through the body language, and it's it's very affecting. It's very well done. But really, I think you should like people should watch videos of it because it just looks so incredible. If you have an RTX card from NVIDIA, turn on DLSS and turn on the RTX global illumination and everything, and it just it's kind of mind blowing.
Lego game is one of the best looking games ever.
Yes, basically yes. This game is also on Switch, and even without the RTX stuff, it still looks pretty good. Just the RTX stuff actually puts it over the top and makes it one of the best looking games ever. Absolutely. And then finally, Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, which I only played because it has the Sonic mascot as a playable character, which I did in every event. And it's
why not, right?
Why not?
You?
Why wouldn't I? Of course, I was never going to play this game if that wasn't in there. And it's it's a basic little party game that's not very much fun. But having Sonic knock someone out in the boxing game or in judo, or swimming, and like me being bad at the swimming game, so Sonic's just slowly like losing to everyone else. It's all really funny to watch, actually. So it was worth it for that. I wouldn't go buy this game for that because it's like the novelty wears off very, very fast. But
watch a video of that.
You just watch a video on YouTube, absolutely. But it was fun while it lasted for me in my house with the family over watching.
Have you ever had a strong opinion about one of these Olympic games? Even like the Sonic and Mario ones?
No, I think I like... Well, there's Super Sport Matching, which is not an Olympics game, on the Switch, and I played that and won my first event in that Greg Miller's like inter-website event at PAX. And that game's
the one that I'm furious at you for because you were just so bad at Smash Brothers.
Right, yes.
My best game.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I got into the finals and I fell off the side as Cloud, and I could hear your disappointment from over the internet.
Groaning. Oh my god.
Yeah. But I won everything else. I was pretty good in everything else. You wouldn't have gotten to the finals, so come on.
Yeah. You think so, huh?
All right. If they do another one of those, you'll have to compete, and we'll see.
We'll see.
But it was that game's pretty good. I like track and field from like the NES stuff and like playing on the power pad.
Like Olympics branded ass Olympics. I remember there was one the Nintendo 64 I rented a few times. Nagano, it wasn't that good.
The Nagano one.
It must have been Nagano. Nintendo 64. It had to be either 98 or 2022, right? Yeah, because 2000 was summer.
2002,
2022. I mean 2002. It had to be the 2002 one.
What was 2002?
That was Nagano. That was
Nagano. Okay,
I believe so. Yes, that was the owl mascots. Because I remember in 5th grade they made us do some arts and crafts with the owls.
I always like the idea of these games, but they simplify it so much because clearly they need to. They have like they're split among so many different disciplines and stuff.
2002 was apparently Salt Lake City, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think 98 was Nagano. Wait, Nagano was that the Olympic or was that the Winter Olympics?
98 was Nagano. 98 is Nagano. You're right.
All right, cool.
You're right.
Yeah, of course I am. I know everything.
No, you're right. That is when I was in 5th grade. Okay, yeah.
To answer your question, no, I've never had strong feelings about these Olympic games. They've never been very good. But Mike, that's everything I've been playing. Should we hit anything else, or should we get on out of here? Actually, you know what?
Nice.
We got to get out of here because I got to go into the zoo.
That's right. You're going to the zoo. A true zoo story.
Yep, the true zoo story. We're not going to buy a zoo. We're just going to go to the zoo. I'm going to go feed some giraffes.
An actual true zoo story. I mean, I guess maybe that was a true zoo story. I'm sure some people buy zoos sometimes.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I'm not Matt Damon though. What it is. My voice is now tight. That's like My vocal cords are no longer
Don't
like
call
here.
it tight ever again.
If I could just, my voice is now loose as a goose. There we go. And I get up close
I
and
don't
I
like
can
anything
talk
that's
like this.
happened in the
And I
last
look, I'm gonna look you
45
right in the
seconds.
eyes and just say, "Hey, everybody,
All right.
time to wrap things up."
All right, bye everybody. You can find me on Twitter at Tokoto, TOLKOTO. Check out 90s Disney, our 90s Disney podcast. We actually just did a little episode about some of the 90s arcades from Disney World that we remember. Jeff, we did a new tier list that should be going up soon about the Metroid games since we're in such a Metroid mood. Hey, no, I cut that bit off. I outmaneuvered you. Just admit defeat.
I remember. So Christian said, "Say chaos," and then someone else earlier said,
"I thought we were going to get away without mentioning that game for a show."
No, not for a while. And then I'm also supposed to look in the camera and say Arby's. That's a lot of people.
That's actually pretty good. I would like that.
Yeah, get yourself some Arby's.
They have that really deep voice guy doing the commercials, right?
We have the meats.
He
a lot of
very enthusiastically though. So
I can't do that. I can't do both. I gotta just be the low key. I saw a lot of people getting Arby's this week, Mike. A lot of people tagging us
because we are fantastic. We're doing it for free right now, just out of the goodness of our heart.
Because we're just meat fluencers. That's what we are.
We just love it so much.
Yeah,
we just like the brand. We just like the stock, as they say, right?
Yeah, and eventually we're gonna get jaded and we're gonna need the money. But for now, we're just doing it for the love of the game. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we're gonna go feed some drafts. That means I gotta get some money out of the ATM so I can buy some lettuce when we're there. I guess I could just bring my own lettuce, but is that tacky? Is it tacky to bring my own lettuce to a zoo, Mike?
Yes, I believe so. I don't know much about zoo protocol, but it sounds weird at least.
Just a bag of lettuce. There's just the loose leaves of lettuce there. They have like a little kiosk with like a lady where you buy like a couple leaves of lettuce for $5. It's a ripoff, but
but hey,
but it's worth it.
You're supporting the establishment, Jeff.
Yeah. All right. You tell people where they. Well, you already did. Me. I'm Jeff Grubb on Twitter. I am Jeff Grubb on Twitch. I will be streaming some games there. I have another podcast, How Games Make Money. A new episode went up last week. Yeah. Let's get out of here. Bye, everybody.
Bye. NBA Live.